When it comes to Lies of P, really, only one word does it justice. And that word is masterpiece. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Lies of P is a Souls-like game based on the tales of Pinocchio.
It's set in the city of Krat, and once awoken by a woman named Sophia, you're tasked with saving the city from the puppet frenzy, as well as uncovering the mystery of the petrification disease.
Throughout the story, you meet a whole host of interesting characters.
Some are beacons of light set to help guide you through this broken dystopian land, and others are, well,
for lack of a better word,
wanker.
Now, I can't emphasize how impressed I was with the characters and the storylines they had throughout this entire game.
Whether it was the tragic tale of Vanini's past, the broken bond between two best friends, the disconnect between the Corday sisters, or the man who fell in love with the sex doll.
I was continually pulled in and compelled to learn more about the characters in this world.
Not only that, on top of incredible character storylines, you're also tasked with making your own decisions through this game, giving you some say on how the story plays out. And between lying and telling the truth, there's 3 different endings to unlock, giving you reasons to play through the game multiple times.
Now, it's no secret that Lies of P shares a lot of similarities to Bloodborne, and this may come as a controversial opinion, but I actually preferred the story in Lies of P.
Fuck off.
In my opinion, it's easier to follow and considerably less convoluted, and for someone with a small brain like me, it was actually preferred because I could understand what was going on. And in turn, understanding the story better also helped me connect better with the characters I met throughout the game. Now, that's not to say that Bloodborne's story is bad, just that this simple narrative storytelling was more suited to me. An important feature of any Souls-like game is good level design, and this is another area that I think Lies of P nailed.
Each area you visit, from the streets surrounding Hotel Krat to the Cathedral Chapel, Baron's Swamp, and all the way to the Isle of the Alchemists, is so unique and distinct. Each area with its own unique look and colour palette really helps to keep the game fun to explore throughout its entire duration. But not only do these areas look incredible, they're also designed in a way that feels interconnected and cohesive as a whole. By using a good mixture of stargazers and pathway shortcuts, as well as intelligent map design, you never feel lost or like there's an unfair amount of enemies between you and your next save point.
And in difficult Soulsborne style games, it really can't be emphasised how important good level design is. Or for any game for that matter. Lies of P managed to create maps that were challenging and interconnected, while simultaneously feeling fun and fair to explore, which in my opinion, a lot of Soulsborne style games fail to do well. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say this is possibly one of the smoothest and best day one releases in terms of game optimization I've played in recent memory.
My PC runs an RTX 2090 Super, which is a pretty old card at this point in time. And despite this, I was able to run the game at best graphics mode and get an FPS rate between 100 to 120 while using DLSS. Not only that, throughout the entire game I only noticed minor pop-ins when visiting Hotel Krat, and some fairly funky mouth animations.
There was a fire, and I couldn't reach her through the flames.
Apart from that, this game ran insanely smoothly from launch day while still managing to look incredible at the same time. So, boss fights. Lies of P has so many things that makes it an incredible game, but boss fights may be at the top of that list.
The game sets the stage right from the first encounter with the parade boss, and from that point it really never lets its foot off the gas, ranging from fire-corrupt mechanicals to weird slimy looking frog bishops, all the way to the mutant-infused Monopoly Man.
Hey bitch, wanna buy some property?
This game seriously has it all.
If I was going to critique it in any way, I would say that for some bosses there does seem to be a fairly unusual difficulty spike, and the use of 2-stage cutscenes gets a little bit predictable towards the latter end of the game.
But that really is just me nitpicking.
On the whole though, bosses are well polished, carefully thought through, and most importantly fun and challenging. That's not to say some aren't better than others.
But on the whole, I loved pretty much every encounter I had.
Not only that, outside every boss area there's a small dish that allows you to summon a spectre. So for those that want to make these challenging fights just a little bit easier, that is an option you have.
So, I remember going into Lies of P thinking it was going to play incredibly similar to Bloodborne. Newsflash, it doesn't play like Bloodborne.
Lies of P, through some clever alterations, really does play like its own game. It's Fast pace, yes, but rather than just dodging every attack, it really does pay off to get to grips with the parry mechanic. Through a good chain of parries, you can break weapons and help to build up an enemy's groggy state. The key is to knowing when to parry, when to dodge, and when to attack. As where Bloodborne had far more emphasis on constant action, Lies of P has a middle ground, somewhere between Bloodborne, Dark Souls, and Sekiro.
Which, as I said, gives it its own very distinctive playstyle. And the same can be said when it comes to the weapon system.
In Lies of P, all common weapons have a handle and an attacking end. Through this system, you can chop and change each weapon, trying numerous combinations until you find your perfect match. Not only that, if these aren't good enough, you can also get specialized boss weapons. Much like common weapons, there's a great variation of boss weapons in the game, but unfortunately you're unable to customize these.
But I have to say, from my own personal opinion, this isn't really an issue.
It's fair to say I fell in love with the Puppet Ripper weapon as soon as I got it in the mid-game section. The only issue I found throughout the game was the fact that most weapons seem to be built for a technique style. That's not to say there aren't plenty of weapons for other styles, but the technique section definitely seemed to be the most crowded. That being said, you can alter weapons preferences through the use of cranks, which kind of nullifies my only issue with this section of the game, but I still thought it was worth mentioning as it was something that affected me early on in my first playthrough.
Okay, so remember earlier when I said the boss battles were probably one of the best things in Lies of P? Well, honestly, I think the music may even top the boss battles.
I literally can't say enough good things about the music in this game. Throughout your time in Lies of P, you collect different vinyl records. Each one has a different song and you're able to play it in Hotel Krat. Right from the beginning, you're given a record called Feel, which is, for lack of a better word, a beautiful song.
Honestly, I think I could make a whole video just ranking the records in this game. They really are that good.
Another few of my favourites are Quixotic and Divine Service, but honestly all of them are incredible and I personally think this is probably one of the best soundtracks in a game I've heard in a long time.
Not only is the music amazing in this game, the sound design is also incredible as well.
Weapons have a heavy and powerful sound to them, and small touches like the twinkle you can hear around the Stargazer, or the creepy whispering in the basement section of the Grand Exchange, really help to add so much atmosphere and immersion to this game.
Now, before I get into my conclusion, I want to touch on the difficulty of this game. And like any Soulsborne game, you need to understand you're going to die quite a bit.
It's a doctor!
Or, as you can see in my case, quite a lot.
But as hard as the game is, it never felt unfair to me. Yeah, some sections were definitely more difficult than others. I personally really struggled in the Opera House. That corruption shit fucked me up worse than sugar fucks up diabetics.
You know, diabetes.
But me dying so much in this area was more my fault than the game's. For some reason, I barely ever used consumables on my first playthrough, meaning I died to poisons and build-up effects way more than I had to. So, to conclude, I think Lies of P is one of the best games I've played in a long time, and it's comfortably in my top 10 list. I also think if you went ahead and slapped a From Software logo on the game case, not many people would have questioned it. To come from such a small gaming studio, NeoWiz really knocked this one out of the park. Blending elements of tough gameplay with deliberate storytelling, beautifully composed music with awe-inspiring vistas, Lies of P well and truly exceeded all of my expectations. And based on the positive reviews from the gaming community, I'm not the only one that feels this way. When it comes to Lies of P, only one word does it justice.
Masterpiece.